Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. It is time for a coffee stream, and it is, in fact, Friday Free for All. I hope you guys are doing well today. It's going to be a bit of a short stream today. I am not feeling the best. I've got a bit of a headache, actually, a lot of a headache. And so but I didn't want to not do a stream. So I will push through it. We will do a short one today, and I'll be back later for Twitch. We're gonna do the Stepford Wives tonight over on Twitch for movie night. So that's what's gonna happen today. I hope you are all, as I said, doing well. Hello, Bishop. Hello, Elwin. Huzzah! Happy Friday. Remember, your health comes first. It does. Yes, it does. But I didn't want to not stream. So because this is what I do, this is my job. So I have to make sure that I don't just like not stream just because I feel a little bit icky. But yeah, it's today's a hard one because it was one of those nights last night, where without going into details or whatever, but one of those nights as a couple where things aren't the best and you end up staying up talking about shit. And so we stayed up till like 3, and that's probably why my head hurts because of that. So because Pink Hollow's tired too today. He's like, I'm just tired. And yeah, like, so we're both kind of not feeling it today, but he's got to work, so I got to work. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. What else to talk about while people trickle in? Just trying to think here without like going into the main bulk of the show. I'm just trying to figure out what intro things to talk about. I posted my first advent calendar opening video. I've got to do the next one after this show. I, of course, am not able to tell which number I'm opening, so I'm kind of just guessing. Apparently, I started with 9 yesterday, so that's always fun. But hey, as people keep pointing out in the comments section, it doesn't matter what number or what order you're going in, as long as there's chocolate behind each one. And I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. As long as there's chocolate involved, and it's good chocolate. You know what I mean? Chocolate that has a flavor. Not that old, like, dried out garbage chocolate that disintegrates in your mouth and tastes like chalk. That it's quite obviously gone bad, because yes, chocolate can turn. Nope, just chocolatey goodness. Exactly, Ellen. Those Ferrero Rocher calendars are so good. Dollar store chocolate, exactly. I remember those. Yep, the dollar store chocolate. Oh my god, I fucking hate that shit. I hate that shit. And it ruins it. It ruins, like, because you're like, I really want chocolate. And that's all you can afford at the time. So you're like, maybe this time will be different. And you take a bite and it's not different. And it's gross and sad. And you're like, even though I spent like $1.50 on all of that stuff, like, yeah. Yeezy got banned from Twitter for inciting violence. He didn't. He posted a swastika inside a star. Let's see. Oh, it's a stupid logo, not inside invite. That's not. Ooh. Yeah, he got Elwin, he got a rock advent calendar. So that's cool. I wonder what tomorrow's will be. I wonder, I've always wanted to get like a geode and open them, because I always hear that there's like a crystal inside of a geode, and I've never actually seen what's inside a geode before. I had a geode when I was a kid. I tried to use one of those, you know, those desks that have the lift up lids. I tried to put the geode right on the corner of my desk, and I kept like dropping the lid on it, and it still wouldn't crack. I love rocks. It's a great advent calendar for me. That's really cool though. Like I like rocks. They're fun because like there are so many different varieties on Earth. Like and even in the most basic rocks, there's a huge amount of variety. But when you get down to like the fossil rocks and stuff, and as a blind person to be able to feel literal lines on the stone, like that's pretty awesome. Like I think rock is one of Earth's coolest features, actually. Like just the sheer amount of different types of rocks, and when you get to like specific layers, like the fossils you find, or like just their musculature and stuff just fossilized in the rock. It's so cool. Oh yeah, geodes are gangbusters for blind people. They're not fully crystal. They're full of crystals. Or full of a crystal. They're full of crystals. The inner layer is ribbed with them, very tactile. Huh. Cool. There's a shop. Where does they say? Duck Dog says there's a rock and gem shop I just passed that has a great that has a pick and break your own geode. Oh, that's cool. I want an advent calendar where each day is progressively more money. Me too. They all look different. They all feel different. They all have their stories. Yeah, that like rocks are great. Like the sedimentary rocks, the igneous rocks, yeah. You do know that I plan on doing geode hunting with the kids this summer, right? You will do your fair share, or you will get to smash your fair share of rocks. Nice. Oh my goodness. Wake up. Go away, headache. Jesus Christ. Okay. See what I mean, guys? I am just done. Stick a fork in me, I'm fried crispy. And not in the good way. Not in the good way. Okay, here we go. So, do you remember, I think it was not last week, but the week before, I told you guys that I searched up weird history, blindness. And a video from the Weird History channel popped up talking about Victorian era opium dens. So that made me curious as to why, when I type in weird history and blindness, as to why a why would like yeah, I want to see this. Why would blindness come up when I search weird history blindness? Why would an opium den come up? I'm like, that's just weird. Unless they were smoking so much opium they blinded themselves. I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's take a quick look. And if you haven't checked out Weird History, you should, because I like their videos. Oops. Hey, Michelle, it's been a while. I had nightmares all last night, so I can sympathize. Oh, that sucks. Opium sounds good for glaucoma. Ha! Without it, I could go even blinder. Right? Okay. Here we go.
When we think of opium dens of the 19th century, most of us picture a hazy, smoke-filled room full of questionable characters, right?
No, I picture a hazy, smoke-filled room full of rich people.
But that image was largely created by sensationalized and occasionally racist media and literature, through which the Victorian-era opium dens took on a life of their own. So, today we're going to take a look at what Victorian-era Chinese opium dens were really like.
This is going to be interesting. I have not actually. Hello, Fury. This looks interesting.
But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel. After that, leave a comment and let us know what other aspects of Victorian life you would like to hear about. Okay, time to spark up some weird history.
Spark up some weird. I got it.
In the modern world, we all know that if you need medication, there's a certain process that you have to go through.
Yep.
You go to a doctor, get a prescription, and then get that prescription filled by a pharmacist.
Unless you are trying to circumvent that system, then you go to the street.
Or you go to the ATM and text a line cook named Eddie. But before 1850 in Great Britain, there were basically no regulations on medications, drugs, or poisons.
That's true.
You could pick up some opium from your local barber, confectioner, or wine merchant. This changed in 1851 when the Arsenic Act was passed. The public had become concerned about a spate of accidental arsenic poisonings and intentional ones.
I was going to say, how do you accidentally poison yourself with arsenic? And they're like, and there were some intentional ones. Let's see. A lot of Chinese dens were well regulated, with experienced pharmacists, for lack of a better word. Okay.
Hey, it was Victorian England. The legislature responded by passing a new law. This act required that the seller had to keep track of all sales, the seller had to know the buyer's identity, and the arsenic sold had to be colored, typically with soot or indigo. This act paved the way for the 1868 Pharmacy Act, which regulated...
Oh, interesting. Do you see what you learn about when you go down a den about a rabbit hole about opium dens, you learn about when the Pharmacy Act was put into place, which is a very important act.
The use of 15 poisons, including morphine and opium. After that, only people who were graduates of the Royal Pharmaceutical Society's school were allowed to sell these substances.
Good.
You don't want just any old yahoos slinging morphine. You need to graduate from drug school first.
Drug school. You don't want just some rando slinging morphine. You gotta go to drug school.
However, as good as the intentions were with this act, there was still no limit on how much pharmacists could sell. This made the law not nearly as restrictive as it could have been. But hey, you gotta start somewhere, right?
Fury says, arsenic and mercurychromes were common in use as antibiotics and antiseptics. Okay, now I want to go to drug school. Sounds like fun, says Ellen, right?
The rise in popularity of opium can be attributed mainly to the Opium War between Britain and China. British merchants were going to China to acquire highly desired items like tea and silk to sell back in Europe. A great many wars are fought over who gets to sell a thing. However, while the British were buying up all these Chinese goods, the Chinese did not want to buy any of what Britain was selling. This made for an uneven trading balance.
China was like, yeah, we don't want any of your shit, but you can take our shit.
The Brits didn't care for. In an attempt to even things up, economically speaking, the Brits went in search of a product the Chinese would buy. That product turned out to be Indian opium, which was illegally transported into China to sell.
Isn't that interesting? So they were like, okay, China, you're not going to grow opium for us. We'll go over here.
The opium trade proved to be highly lucrative, which was good, but it also created one of the worst mass addictions the world has ever seen, which was bad, but less bad if you're the one selling the opium. By 1840, there were millions of people addicted to opium in China. Just 65 years later, an estimated 13.5 million Chinese citizens were addicted to opium,
wow.
with 27% of the adult males.
Let's put that back again, just to quickly gauge that.
Created one of the worst mass addictions the world has ever seen, which was bad, but less. The Chinese did not want to buy any of what Britain was selling.
Let's put that
this
back
made
here.
for an uneven trading balance that the Brits didn't care for. In an attempt to even things up, economically speaking, the Brits went in search of a product the Chinese would buy. That product turned out to be Indian opium, which was illegally transported into China to sell.
So yeah, so they got mad that the Chinese were not buying their stuff. So they were like, fine, we'll start importing opium from over here in India, and we're gonna get you hooked on it. Like, screw your Chinese opium. We're gonna get this Indian opium. We're also gonna try and sell it to you and get you hooked on it.
The opium trade proved to be highly lucrative, which was good, but it also created one of the worst mass addictions the world has ever seen, which was bad, but less bad if you're the one selling the opium. By 1840, there were millions of people addicted to opium in China.
I bet.
Just 65 years later, an estimated 13.5 million Chinese citizens were addicted to opium.
Oh my God, 13.5 million. Now, I know that, like, even back then, China had probably had quite a lot of people, but still, 13.5 million people addicted to morphine. Jesus.
With 27% of the adult males suffering from opium dependency. Wow. Attempts by the Chinese to clamp down on the opium trade led to two conflicts, which resulted in some unfavorable treaties for China.
That's insane.
Doctors in the 1800s were doing their best, but they just didn't understand the dangers of addiction yet. So they prescribed opium for just about anything.
Yeah. Hey, are you tired but you can't sleep? Take some laudanum. Do you have a cough? Take some laudanum. Do you have a headache? Take some laudanum. Is your baby teething? Give it some laudanum.
The long list of ailments that opium was used to treat included toothaches, whooping cough, inflamed intestines, fever, insomnia, diarrhea, and hiccups. There's a non-zero chance you would have been prescribed opium to help boost your algebra grades.
I love the little side jokes he puts in there. Like, there's a non-zero. Oh, that's funny. But it's so weird. Like, I have to defend opium right now. It's so fucking shit. Because I hate that. I hate opium.
For many of these, laudanum, which was 10% opium dissolved in alcohol, was the specific formula that was prescribed. Opium was touted as a miracle drug that could help everyone, including women, children, and even infants.
Yes, yes. Is your infant colicky? Give it some laudanum.
Advertised as women's friends, opium was often heralded as a great treatment option for women's problems, including anything from menstruation, childbirth, hysteria, depression, and fainting. Maybe they were fainting because of all the opium. And for women who had troublesome children, well, hey, they could take opium too.
Are your kids pissing you off? Well, just give them some opium, because that'll solve that problem right quick. Oh. Funny, now it's the fentanyl war. Yep. Yes, but the Chinese got their own back by banning licorice, so now they must die of constipation. So it's a bold move. Let's see if it works. Is it black licorice seeds that's a laxative? I think so. Think of how many people are addicted to cigarettes. Think it's funny how history misses that part. Yeah. Yeah.
At times, kids and babies would be spoon-fed what's called Godfrey's cordial.
Oh my God.
Also known as mother's friend, this was a mixture of opium, water, and treacle, given to children for anything from colic, coughs, and hiccups. And in fairness, a spoonful of watered-down morphine probably did chase those hiccups away.
Right? Not for the reasons you think, though.
Because opium was so widely distributed, people from all walks of life took it for medicinal purposes or, for hanging out. This included many famous authors like Charles Dickens, Walter Scott, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and Lord Byron. In fact, one of Samuel Taylor Coleridge's most well-known poems, Kubla Khan, was inspired by an opium-induced dream. And
what's it called? Conan Doyle did opium as well, I believe.
The point is, opium was fairly common in the early 19th century. However, as the decades wore on, opium started to become associated with the lower class, and then with criminals. Despite taking opium, Dickens painted a grim picture of opium dens in his unfinished novel, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, describing them as the meanest and closest of small rooms. Oh, okay, like those private karaoke bars.
Oh my God, he's hilarious. Hey, Selected Boy. Mother's Little Helper, yep. Or Quaaludes, yep.
The author Thomas de Quincey openly spoke about the pleasurable sensations that accompanied taking opium, which he had started taking as a student at Oxford to treat a toothache. However, de Quincey became addicted to the substance for the rest of his life. He detailed the awful withdrawals he experienced after he tried to stop his opium usage in a nightmarish montage filled with racist remarks about the Orient and some wild visions, including being stared at, hooted at, grinned at, chatted at by monkeys, by parakeets, by cockatoos. That last part may have been a drug-induced hallucination, or de Quincey may have simply gotten so high he wandered into a zoo. In any case, his gritty account of his opium habit became highlights about the for the rest of his life. He detailed the awful withdrawals
Oh,
rooms.
the
Oh,
the
okay.
perspective.
Like those private karaoke bars. The author Thomas de Quincey openly spoke about the pleasurable sensations
Thomas de Quincey. I don't think I've ever heard of that man. Thomas de
that
Quincey.
accompanied taking opium, which he had started taking as a student in Oxford to treat a toothache.
So yeah, so he starts by talking about the happy. Hey, Spoonie. This makes me think of the weed bar you go to. Oh, really?
However, de Quincey became addicted to the substance for the rest of his life.
That's sad. So okay, so yeah, and this probably, well, not probably. This happened a lot, and happened. This happens a lot, even today. But we would see these authors that would, be on opium, and they would just be hooked. I can't remember if Conan Doyle was opium or cocaine, but yeah, he was definitely into that stuff as well. But this De Quincey, yeah, to be hooked on opium for the rest of your life, that's hard.
He detailed the awful withdrawals he experienced after he tried to stop his opium usage in a nightmarish montage filled with racist remarks about the Orient and
God damn Orient! I can't deal with this.
some wild visions, including being stared at, hooted at, grinned at, chatted at by monkeys, by parakeets, by cockatoos.
Ooh.
That last part may have been a drug-induced hallucination, or De Quincey may have simply gotten so high he wandered into a zoo. In any case, his gritty account of his opium habit became highly influential and greatly shaped the way subsequent authors depicted opium. Later in the 19th century, opium dens became a darker and more crime-centric setting. This can be seen in many of the stories that came out in this time period. In the Sherlock Holmes mystery, The Man with the Twisted Lip, by Arthur Conan Doyle, the case starts with Dr. Watson going to find a man who had a horrible opium affliction. He was found in an opium den, which Conan Doyle described like a one-star Yelp review of a haunted house.
A one-star Yelp review of a haunted house. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Sherlock was morphine and cocaine. Yeah. Let's see.
And immediately sees little red circles of light glimmering at him from out of the dark shadows,
Oh boy.
which he knows to be burning opium. The den is full of motionless, muttering addicts, talking, as Doyle puts it, in a strange, low, monotonous voice, the conversation coming in gushes, and then suddenly tailing off into silence, each mumbling out his own thoughts and paying little heed to the words of his neighbor. Oscar Wilde also painted opium dens in a negative light in his famous work, The Picture of Dorian Gray. According to Wilde, there were
I need to read that. I need to read that book.
Opium dens where one could buy oblivion, dens of horror, where the memory of old sins could be destroyed by the madness of sins that were new.
I love that description. A den of horror.
Oh, that sounds like a night out at Buffalo Wild Wings. Despite what some of the literature of the era would have you think, London was not riddled with opium dens. But there were a few opium dens outside London's ports, specifically in a slum area called Limehouse. The dens originated here because they mostly catered to the sailors and dock workers who had become addicted to opium on their travels. Even Limehouse wasn't as bad as it was made out to be in fiction and media reports. Writers portrayed Limehouse as a dark, dangerous, and mysterious place that had an opium den on every corner. But they were just playing it up for maximum hysteria, the Victorian equivalent of clickbait. With so many...
Wait, there are weed bars in Canada, yeah. There's good evidence that Watson was his supplier. It makes sense. At the weed bar, we just pet the puppies that are running around and buy really cool snacks. That sounds like fun. A lot of the sailors were Chinese at Lester's, not Brits at Limehouse. Okay.
The alarming stories about opium dens swirling around in pop culture at the time, it was hard to separate fact from fiction. However, we do have some first-hand accounts of what opium dens were actually like. Walter Besant, a novelist known for describing the social evils of London, made his first visit to an opium den expecting to see the refuge of human misery he had heard about in fiction, but it didn't go the way he expected. According to Besant, greatly to my disappointment, when one goes to an opium den for the first time, one expects a creeping of the flesh at least.
Yeah,
the place was neither dreadful nor horrible. He was genuinely bummed out that the dens were not nearly the wretched hives of scum and villainy he'd been led to believe.
He's like, "Aw, there's no depravity going on here. I'm so sad. I wanted there to be some horrible shit going on. Why?"
That being said, the experience wasn't exactly pleasant either. Besant commented on the smell of the place, which he described as overwhelming, like Comic-Con times 1,000. Yeah, didn't say that last bit, but what if he had? Besant also called out a man who was playing an unidentified musical instrument that Besant described as sounding like 1,000 fingernails scratching the window or 10,000 slate pencils scratching a schoolboy's slate. According to Besant, the musical instrument was the only horror of the opium den.
This unknown, like, shrieky noise-making machine. Oh, that's too funny.
In other words, he was so unimpressed with the den itself that he wound up roasting some dude trying to play Wonderwall instead. Classism also played a part in creating the myths around opium dens.
Yeah.
If the upper or middle class used opium, it was seen as merely a leisurely activity. And if a rich person became addicted to opium, as many were, it was viewed simply as a habit.
Yeah.
Biting your fingernails or getting drunk at breakfast.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, that's just what they do. You know, if you're rich and you know you can afford it, I guess it's totally fine that you become a completely, you know, nodding vegetable of a person.
However, that same generous view wasn't extended to the lower class, who were misusing the substance and should be shamed and stopped at all costs. That may sound a little familiar, and so will this next bit. By the end of the 19th century, doctors were becoming aware of the dangerous and addictive nature of opium. Armed with a new form of pain relief, namely aspirin, the upper class no longer needed to go to opium to cure their ailments.
And yeah, I forgot aspirin was made that early in or I should say in the late 1800s. I thought it came around in the 1900s, but still, yeah, if you're able to afford the aspirin, you're not going to go to the opiates and risk addiction.
So a movement began to educate people about the dangers of opium, which is understandable. It had been overprescribed for decades and had become a genuine health crisis. However, the movement also included some racism, for good measure. Part of the anti-opium messaging focused on the idea that smoking opium was a uniquely Oriental trait that degraded Europeans and thus shouldn't be replicated. This narrative was furthered by negative portrayals in literature, such as the villain Dr. Fu Manchu, a villain who tried to take over the West in a series of crime novels by Sax Rohmer. The evil doctor did have a pretty rad mustache, though.
This is very strange. Welcome to heroin. They keep trying to find non-addictive pain meds. It takes away pain. You will feel awesome. It will never end. Yep. Willow bark aspirin had been known since prehistory, but the synthetic one came around. Yeah. That makes sense.
The final nail in the coffin of legal opium sales came in 1888 with the founding of the profusely named Christian Union for the Severance of the British Empire with the Opium Traffic. That's just too many words, fellas.
I agree.
Clunkily named though they were, the organization proved to be very effective. After much criticism throughout the end of the 19th century and early 20th century, the United States banned opium in 1905.
Oh,
5 years
wow.
later, Britain followed suit by dismantling the India-China opium trade once and for all. However, many of the stereotypes built around opium dens persist to this day. So what do you think? Which of these facts surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And
Honestly,
while you're
the
at it,
fact
check out some of these other videos from our weird history.
that it took until 1910 for Britain to ban opium and 1905 for the States to ban it, that actually surprised me. I thought it was like still in the 1880s or 90s. I had no idea. That's interesting. Oh, I wish that I wasn't so fucking ridiculously tired and headachy. I'm giving you guys a shitty stream. I'm sorry, guys. Holy fuck. Damn, like this is really annoying. Like I am not doing well, guys. I'm like fucking I feel like Pincolo does when he's driving and like falling asleep and he's like, wake up, and he's like on the phone with me. That's how I'm feeling right now, except I'm like on camera and it's being uploaded to the internet. Well, the original Coca-Cola had cocaine in it. That's true. The banning of opium probably had more to do with lack of factory and tax revenue than for moral society reasons. Yeah. The banning of opium was a big mistake. That's when worse things came up. Regulate it, sure. But the banning was the big mistake. I think you might actually be onto something, because if you regulated it, it might be like the problem is that these drugs sometimes can be so potent that you try it once and you're hooked. Where am I here? Jesus Christ, I don't know what to do with this, guys. Like, I am literally sitting here falling asleep while I'm speaking. This is insane. And it's really fucking frustrating. My head is also pounding, so I don't know what to do here. Do you know that Blind Press has never done a shitty stream? I don't know. This one's pretty shit. This stream's pretty shitty. Like, I'm just like, bleh. Oh my god. Well, the good thing is that tonight I'll be doing. So I've decided to pick. I've made an arbitrary decision, and we'll be watching the Stepford Wives tonight on Twitch. Tatiana was gonna come over tonight, but her boyfriend wants to take her up to his cottage for a nice little away time. So the two of them are gonna go away, have a nice time, and she's gonna come by next week. So I'm gonna do movie night, and we're gonna watch the Stepford Wives on Twitch instead of the Little Shop of Horrors. The 1960s version was so shitty. Like, holy crap, I was bored to tears. It was bad. Like, boyfriends are not evil. He's awesome. He's good. Like, they're great. Besides, I don't want her to, like, because my throat's still a little sore. So I don't want to, like, I don't want to risk getting her sick because she just got over being sick. So I don't want her to catch anything if I have it. Baptists think everything is evil. I can't even fucking talk and read chat. What the hell? Oh my god. This is ridiculous. What the fuck? I have 8 people watching me be like really tired. It's oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what do I do, you guys? I don't want to give you guys like a 40-minute stream, but I also cannot keep my fucking self from nodding. Ugh. You know what? Baptists are differently evil. Nicely done, Costin. Nicely done. Don't feel bad. There are Twitch streamers that quite literally stream themselves sleeping. True. Peek at my chocolate. I've got to record my... Oh, you know what? Here's what I'll do. Because I'm recording these as an upload, as an Advent upload, like a video upload to TikTok and YouTube and everything. So we're going to record it in a special way here. You guys get to watch how I film a TikTok. See? Look. Looky, looky, looky. It's my Advent calendar. Okay. Here we go. It's Advent calendar time. Day 2. It's December 2nd. I'm going to open it up. I opened up the 9. Somebody told me in the comments yesterday. So we're gonna, I guess, open up the 10. Yeah. Ooh, it's a little ball chocolate this time. Ooh, and it's flat. It's a little flat one. I wonder, I love these ones. Oh no, I can't open it. It won't open. Help! There we go. Let's see how it tastes. I think it's a coconut one. Mm-hmm. Definitely a coconut one. See you tomorrow. And that's how I film a TikTok. Okay. OMG, I just realized my birthday's in 6 days. Holy shit. The voice of experience, you recognized it. I love Rocher. Ferrero Rocher is so good. So good. It was tasty. That was a tasty one. All right, my friends. Rather than drag out the misery of my half-assed, really tiredness, I'm gonna end this and bring you a kick-ass Twitch stream tonight. We're gonna watch Stepford Wives. We're gonna go through Twitch Studio. We're gonna have some fun, and it'll be much more energized than this was. I really do apologize for that, but I wanted to at least bring you something. I just. Ooh! They're taking you to the keg. Nice. White chocolate lint is your weakness. White chocolate lint is good. I like lint and Ferrero Rocher. I'm big in that. But thank you guys for putting up with this, and please come by Twitch tonight for the Stepford Wives. We're gonna have a lot more fun. So I will talk to you guys in a little bit. I'm gonna go have some more coffee and try to get this headache gone. So thank you for watching this short stream, and I'll see you tonight on Twitch. Good night, everybody. Or goodbye, I should say.